last year against the Chargers. The only team to see him twice. There's no way you could have predicted this season.
Lakers taking on the Spurs in San Antonio. LeBron James finishing with 33 points, including 12 in the fourth quarter. That to go along with 14 assists and 35 minutes of play. Lakers beat the Spurs, extending their win streak to 8 games. And yeah, by the way, best record in the league.
Oh, another good thing.
Nick, all good? Can LeBron keep this up in year 17?
Can he lead the league in assists? Yeah. Can the Lakers finish with the best record in the West? Sure, why not? Can LeBron win league MVP? Is right now, to me, it's LeBron, Giannis, who did drop a 50 ball last night, and my young adult Slovenian son, Luka Doncic, who was just killing it. Yes, all these things. Yes, yes, and yes. He's the only athlete ever who could keep this up in year 17 and at nearly 35 years old, but I believe he can.
He can definitely do it. There's no question about it. He had a long offseason, his longest in years. He obviously is in great shape. Remember, he spends $1.5 million a year on his body, keeping himself in great condition. Let's not let Kawhi Leonard's load management become the norm. LeBron's minutes are down from what they usually are, 35 minutes a night. So to him, that's load management, okay? I love the fact that he's taking the regular season seriously. More players need to do that. We in the media need to do it as well. That's one reason ratings are down, Nick, because people
act like the only thing that matters is June. Right. The journey, it matters not as much as the destination, but it matters at least alongside it.
I'd like to spend $1.5 million. My body. Sixers taking on the Raptors. Tough night for Joel Embiid, unless you think the best player on the team shouldn't score a single point. Embiid finishing 0 for 11 from the field, 0 for 3 from the free throw line. Add that up, and that's 0 points on the night. Sixers lose 101-96. Nick, did we overrate Joel Embiid?
Right now he's overrated. He came into this year as a legitimate MVP candidate. And this game cannot happen. You can't, if you're a superstar in this league, you are supposed to once every 100 games fail to score double digits. You are never supposed to be held scoreless. Nobody of Embiid's caliber has ever had this type of game outside of their rookie season without a game where they got kicked out or got hurt. Not with these types of minutes, those field goal attempts. And the team needs him desperately right now. The Sixers are disappointing, and Joel Embiid got to stare himself in the mirror for quite some time.
I don't think he's overrated. I think he's still, one of the 2 or 3 best centers in the league, best big men in the league. But I agree with you, Nick. Like, last night, I am astonished. I mean, as you say, if you get 10 points, a player of his caliber, you get 10 points, as you said, maybe single digits. That's surprising. 0? 0?
It cannot
happen. One thing it tells me, and I know he shot 4 3-pointers, you were not down low enough. Because if you're down low, at least you're going to get fouled.
Yep.
And maybe you can hit a free throw or something. But that is astonishing. It speaks to this team's lack of maturity and focus. And those are the things that could keep them from reaching the final.
Credit to the Raptors. They have given Embiid, LeBron, and Giannis, Embiid, LeBron, and Kawhi, their 3 worst games of the year.
All right, on to the Dallas Cowboys now, where Jason Garrett has consistently been on the hot seat for 10 years running. Can't be comfortable. A recent report says the Cowboys aren't planning any immediate changes, and Jason Garrett is brushing off the criticism that's been pouring in, especially after Sunday's bad loss to the New England Patriots. Nick, would Dallas be making a mistake sticking with Garrett the rest of this season?
Yes.
This season?
They would be making a mistake. Now, they can't fire him right now because they play in 2 days. So the Thursday game screws that up. But if they lose Thursday, they then, by the way, play the next Thursday. They play back-to-back Thursday games, then they have a long layoff. If they lose Thursday and they're like, well, let's see what he does the week after, and then against Chicago, and then we have 10 days, season could be lost. Because Philly, as bad as they've been, they got 2 left against the Giants. They play Washington, play Miami. Dallas is the most underachieving team by talent in the league this year. They looked great the first 3 weeks of the season.
Bad team.
Not only bad teams, horrible teams. Those 3 teams they beat those first 3 weeks, the Giants, Washington, and Miami, right now would have the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th picks of the draft. They're combined, they're all 2-9. They're combined 6-27 on the year. Since then, they've had to play real teams. They've lost 5 of 8. What would the Cowboys be with an above-average coach? they've drafted incredibly well.
Right.
They have not yet had to pay their quarterback, so right now they're in that perfect window of all this talent. Dak, prior to this week, playing the best ball of his career, making $1 million or $2 million. And to be 6-5 is all about coaching. To not be able to win close games, to not be able to start games off well, to not understand time, score, situation, and the feel of the game, that is on Jason Garrett. Broussard, I'm convinced they're firing him after this year. And if you want to salvage this season, even though there's not a lot of stories of interim coach leads team on playoff run, I see no downside to moving on from him at the earliest possible
Who's
date.
becoming the interim coach?
Well, you have Rod Marinelli, who's been a coach before, and you have Chris Broussard, both on the defensive side of the ball. Broussard, people think, will be a coach one day, so you could either elevate him, leave Marinelli where he is, or elevate Marinelli and elevate Broussard into full-time defensive coordinator.
Yeah, I agree with you that he's gone at the end of the year. I mean, I was thinking before the season started they had to reach the conference championship game
that's what I thought too,
to save his job. Now you probably got to get to the Super Bowl because Jerry wants to fire him. And, I mean, the fact that this is the first time he's come out and publicly criticized the coaching. We know how close Garrett is to the family and all that. They love him. For him to come out and say the things he did after that game shows you how upset he is. So I do agree with you. It's a strange situation in that this guy is absolutely gone after the season, barring a miraculous playoff run. So why not do it now? But to your point, in the NBA, you see it every once in a while. In the NFL, I can't think of one off the top of my head where an interim coach
the
led some
Cavs
great
won
run.
a title.
Right.
They fired their coach midway through the year, and they won a title with Ty Lue.
And they knew Ty Lue was their guy going forward. That's a little different. I don't think, I mean, look, if Broussard were to get the job and lead them to some great run, maybe you keep him. But I think they want like a Lincoln Riley. So if you bring in an interim now and he does well,
what do you do?
Now you got a question. So I don't think you fire him now.
Is so unfortunate because not only are they so skilled and not only have they sort of surrounded Dak with all these great players because money is not an issue with Dak Prescott, but Dak's playing fantastic. Dak's having the year no one thought he was going to have. If anything, Zeke has sort of stepped back just a little bit, and he's still playing great. So to be able to not capitalize on having a guy like Dak Prescott, who that was the only player that we were sort of questioning, have the season he's having, that's unfortunate.
There are 14 teams in the league with as many or more wins than Dallas. There are maybe 2 teams in the league with more talent. There are only 3 teams in the league who have a better point differential than Dallas. They're the 3 best teams in football, record-wise. New England, San Francisco, and Baltimore. Dallas is 4th. So what does that tell you? It tells you that they are blowing out the bad teams, aside from the Jets, and in close games against good teams, they cannot get a victory. And also, Jason Garrett yesterday did a radio interview that I found shocking. Not shocking that this is true, but shocking he would admit it. He was asked about if he's aware of win probability models and things such as why you should have gone for it on that 4th down instead of kicking a field goal down 7 late in the 4th quarter. And he very curtly, very flatly said, we don't use any of those numbers during the game. It's very interesting. Because last week there was an article, I think in the Wall Street Journal, that John Harbaugh and the Ravens, a team that is overachieving maybe more than any team in football, did what I have been begging, literally the exact thing I've been begging teams to do for a decade. Hire a kid out of an Ivy League school, have him model out your game situations. Harbaugh talked about doing exactly that. I think the kid went to Yale.
Yeah.
And that they use the information to help them make their decisions.
And you see it, how aggressive Harbaugh is with calls, going for it all the time.
And putting your team in the right position. Jason Garrett also in that interview said if it was 4th and 3 or shorter, maybe we would have gone for it. Well, that shows a disconnect because you had 2nd and 7. And if you know you might go for 4th and short, then on 2nd or 3rd, maybe run the damn ball and try to give yourself that. There is no justification to keep him. He's had longer. Every coach who's been tenured as long as he has been to at least 1 Super Bowl. Every coach who's on this list has won a Super Bowl. And then there's Jason Garrett, who's got 2 playoff wins. We know he's not going to be the coach next year. I don't know why he needs to be the coach 10 days from now.
But he's such a nice guy.
Yeah, that's fine.
Such a good
That's
Listen,
why he's got
the Giants want to hire him. That'll be exciting. McAdoo to Shermer to Garrett. My God.
On to Monday Night Football. Jared Goff and the Rams hosting the Ravens. And once again, Goff had a night to forget. Finished with 2 interceptions, 1 fumble, and 0 touchdowns. Rams getting blown out 45-6 a year after representing the NFC in the Super Bowl. LA drops to a disappointing 6-5. Here's head coach Sean McVay after the loss.
We're all in this thing together, but I feel as responsible as anybody, and just put your head down and go grind and find a way to just get ready for next week, because just dwelling on this doesn't do you any good. And you can't run away from the problems that we did have tonight, but allowing it to set ourselves back is what this team will not do. I can promise you guys that.